Welcome back to the deep dive. We aim to take complex research and basically give you the fast track to knowing what you need to know. And today we're tackling something really critical. It's about caregiver stress, but maybe not in the way you usually hear about it. We want to talk about preventing those moments, those meltdowns.
Right. And the big shift here, the mission today, is moving past just telling people to be more resilient. That idea of just absorbing more.
Grinning and bearing it.
Exactly. We're focusing squarely on prevention. We're diving into behavioral science, specifically something called antecedent control from applied behavioral analysis, or ABA.
Now, ABA, for anyone not familiar, it's really about understanding the why behind behavior, cause and effect. But here's the twist.
We're applying it to the caregiver, not the person receiving care. We're looking at the caregiver's own emotional state, their stress, their burnout, as behaviors we can actually influence.
It's a different lens entirely.
It really is. We're saying, look, these emotional reactions, the stress, the snapping, it's not some kind of moral failing. It's an observable outcome. And if we manage the environment, the things that come before it.
The antecedents?
Precisely. If we manage the antecedents, we can change the outcome proactively.
And one thing the research really highlights, and it feels so true, is that these big meltdowns, they don't usually start with a bang.
No, they really don't.
It's quieter. It's the holding your breath when things get tense. It's clenching your jaw without even realizing it, dismissing that little flare of panic.
That internal buildup, yeah. That's the danger zone. It just accumulates until something tiny, totally unrelated maybe,
becomes the final straw, the spark.
And that's where the ABC model comes in handy. But first, let's really nail down this distinction. Caregivers get really good at managing triggers for their loved ones, right? Loud noises, changes in routine.
Oh, absolutely. They become experts.
But they often completely ignore their own triggers, their own environment. And stress, burnout, withdrawing those are behaviors too. And like any behavior, they have antecedents we can manage. Prevention really is the strongest tool you've got.
The sources gave a really clear example of this. Mrs. J, I think. It helps make this less theoretical.
Yes, Mrs. J. Her story is such a perfect illustration of how stress stacks up. So earlier in the day, the kitchen sink backs up. Big mess, big stress.
Okay, not ideal.
Not at all. Then, a bit later, her mother-in-law refuses her medication. Again, third time that morning. Mrs. J manages it, stays relatively calm. But these things take a toll, right? They chip away.
You can feel the tension building just hearing about it.
Exactly. But she didn't snap then. Not during the sink disaster, not during the medication struggle.
Yeah, when did it happen?
It happened later. She was trying to make dinner, juggling things, and the phone rang. Just a phone call.
And that was it?
That was it. She yelled, slammed the phone down, and then almost immediately, that wave of guilt just washed over her.
Oh, that guilt. That's the worst part sometimes.
It really is. Because the yelling wasn't really about the phone call. That was just the trigger, the tipping point. The antecedent was everything that came before. The built-up stress, the time pressure, maybe feeling overwhelmed.
And the consequence, that guilt, just reinforces the feeling of, I can't handle this. I'm failing.
Which makes the next time even harder. It feeds the cycle.
Okay, so let's break that cycle. How do we take Mrs. J's experience and turn it into something practical? You mentioned the ABC loop.
Right. ABC.
Yeah.
Antecedent A. That's the setup. The pileup of the small stuff, maybe poor sleep, a messy environment, background noise, feeling rushed, plus that final trigger, like the phone call or spilling something.
Got it. The buildup plus the spark.
Then behavior B. That's the reaction.
Yeah.
The yelling, withdrawing, maybe bursting into tears. The meltdown itself.
And consequence C.
That's the immediate fallout.
Yeah.
More stress, feeling exhausted, and yeah, that heavy guilt confirming those negative thoughts.
So if we want to change the behavior, the meltdown, we can't wait for it to happen. We need to get ahead of it.
Exactly. We have to focus on the A. Identify and, where possible, neutralize those antecedents before they trigger the behavior.
Which leads us to the practical strategies. How do we actually do that? What does neutralizing triggers look like day to day?
Okay, so this is antecedent control specifically for your well-being as a caregiver. The first step is really mapping out what typically comes before you feel that tension rise.
Yeah.
The research tends to group these triggers into, let's say, 3 main buckets.
Okay, buckets are good. Makes it feel less overwhelming.
Right, so think sensory overload, temporal stress, that's time pressure, and physical deficit.
Sensory, temporal, physical. Okay, I can wrap my head around that. Let's tackle sensory overload first. Too much noise, too much going on.
The core strategy here is establishing a quiet hour. Pick a time, maybe say 3 to 4 p.m., whatever works with the care recipient's general rhythm. And during that hour, it's non-negotiable.
Non-negotiable how?
PV off, or at least way down. Lights dimmed if possible. No non-essential phone calls or interruptions. It's not about ignoring the person you care for. It's about reducing the sensory input reaching you. It becomes a predictable antecedent for calm in your day.
That sounds amazing, honestly, a protected hour. But what if, life happens? What if the person genuinely needs help right in the middle of that quiet hour?
That's a fair question. And safety always comes first, of course.
Yeah.
If they need you, you attend to them. But the key is, once the need is met, you go back to the quiet. You don't let the interruption derail the whole hour.
So it's not about being rigid, it's about prioritizing the return to quiet and not using that hour for other chores.
Exactly. It's not catch-up time for laundry. It's input reduction time. The structure itself is the tool.
Okay, that makes sense. It's infrastructure for your brain. So what about bucket number 2? Temporal stress. That feeling of being rushed, interrupted, especially when you need to focus.
Yeah, that's a huge one. For this, we create what's called a behavioral barrier. Think of it as a deliberate shield you put up before you start a task that needs concentration.
Like preparing medications, maybe, or dealing with bills.
Perfect examples. The specific action is simple, but powerful. Silence your phone. Even better, put it in another room altogether.
Remove the temptation, remove the possibility of the interruption.
Precisely. You're not relying on willpower to ignore it. You're removing the trigger from the environment. You eliminate the antecedent for that frustration spike when the phone inevitably rings right when you're counting pills.
It's like putting up a do not disturb sign for yourself, physically. Okay, and the third bucket, physical deficit.
This is about the basics. Exhaustion, dehydration, low blood sugar. Things that make any stressor feel 10 times worse.
Things we often neglect when we're focused on someone else.
Absolutely. So the strategy is about systematizing comfort cues. Make self-care visible and easy. Keep a water bottle already filled right where you can see it. Keep a small container of nuts or a protein bar nearby.
So the visual cue triggers the action.
Yes. Seeing the water reminds you to drink before you feel thirsty. Seeing the snack reminds you to eat before your energy crashes. You're addressing the physical antecedent fatigue, hunger, before it gets a chance to team up with the emotional stress.
It reframes self-care completely. It's not an indulgence you earn after everything else is done.
It's essential operating procedure. It's infrastructure.
Yeah.
Like charging your phone, you need fuel to function.
Okay, so we're building better infrastructure, controlling sensory input, managing time pressure, addressing physical needs. But let's be real, sometimes, despite our best efforts.
The tension still creeps in.
Yeah. You feel that jaw clench, the heart rate pick up. What
Yeah.
then? The antecedent slip through? Or maybe it was unavoidable.
That's where step 3 comes in. Building your pause button. This isn't about prevention anymore. This is about interruption. You need a specific practice behavior you can deploy the instant you feel that stress starting to escalate.
Like swapping out the escalating stress reaction for something else, something incompatible with melting down.
Exactly. And the technique recommended is really effective because it forces a cognitive shift. It's the 5-4-3-2-1 grounding technique.
Okay, walk us through that. How does it work?
It pulls you out of your spiraling thoughts and anchors you in the immediate physical environment using your senses. It's very quick. You just mentally or even quietly aloud name 5 things you can see right now. Anything. The clock, a plant, a spot on the wall.
Okay, 5 sights.
4 things you can feel. The texture of your shirt, the chair supporting you, the air on your skin, maybe your feet on the floor.
4 physical sensations.
3 things you can hear. The hum of the fridge, traffic outside, your own breathing.
3 sounds.
2 things you can smell. Maybe coffee or cleaning supplies or just the neutral smell of the room.
2 smells. And 1.
1 thing you can taste. Maybe the lingering taste of toothpaste, or you could take a sip of water.
Wow. That really forces your brain onto a different track. It's hard to panic when you're busy cataloging smells.
It is. It physically interrupts the stress response cycle.
Yeah.
But there's one more crucial part after you do the 5-4-3-2-1.
What's that?
Reinforcement. You need to acknowledge you did it.
Yeah.
Say to yourself, even internally, okay, I paused, I took control for a second.
Acknowledge the win.
Yes. And then, this is important, give yourself permission to take just 1 minute or even 30 seconds.
Yeah.
Step away, go to the bathroom, look out a window, whatever. Just a brief physical separation before you re-engage. That pause plus the self-acknowledgement, That's the reward.
And doing that repeatedly, using the pause button successfully, it reinforces calm as the response instead of the outburst.
Yeah.
It's like reprogramming.
Exactly what it is. It's
Yeah.
differential reinforcement. You're reinforcing the pausing behavior over the reactive behavior. And yeah, maybe writing down 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 on a sticky note by the phone or on the fridge could be a great visual prompt when you're starting out. Okay, this all sounds very actionable, but theory is one thing, real life is another. Let's talk roadblocks. What happens if you only realize the trigger after you've already reacted? You've snapped, the guilt hits. Then what?
That's going to happen. The key is reflect, don't punish. Getting angry at yourself just adds another layer of stress. Instead, use it as data.
Data? How?
Ask yourself, okay, what exactly happened in the 30 seconds before I reacted? Not the big thing hours ago, but the immediate trigger. Was it a specific noise? A comment? Feeling rushed? That's your real antecedent for that moment, and now you know. You have valuable information for next time. Guilt doesn't give you that. Reflection does.
Okay, so use slip-ups as learning moments. Got it. What about tracking progress? Feels like another to-do item when you're already overwhelmed.
Keep it super simple, a pause log. Seriously, just a piece of paper somewhere convenient. Every time you successfully use the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, or even just take that deliberate pause, make a tick mark, or write one word like paused.
That's it. No detailed journaling. Nope. Just seeing the tick marks accumulate provides visual proof that you are making changes. It reinforces the new habit. Consistency builds the pattern. Minimal effort, maximum reinforcement.
Okay, I like the low effort approach, but back to the time pressure thing. What if you're in a situation where even 30 seconds for the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 feels impossible?
Great question. Remember the goal. Interruption. It doesn't have to be perfect.
Yeah.
If you can't do the full sequence, do something to break the physical escalation.
Like what?
Take one deep, slow breath. Focus only on the exhale. Make it longer than the inhale. Even just that can reset your nervous system momentarily. Clench and unclench your fists hard. Anything that physically interrupts the momentum of that rising stress, one breath is better than 0 breaths.
Interruption, not perfection. That's a helpful mantra. Okay, one more practical point. How do you help someone else, maybe another family member who's also caregiving and clearly struggling, without sounding like you're criticizing?
Oh, that's tricky territory. The best approach. Model, don't lecture. Let them see you using these strategies. Let them see you take your quiet hour. Let them see you pause and take a breath instead of reacting. People are much more likely to unconsciously imitate behavior they observe, especially calm behavior, than they are to respond well to advice, no matter how well-intentioned. Lead by example. And speaking of tricky territory, there's a really critical point we need to cover. How do you know if the stress you're experiencing has gone beyond manageable with strategies and into, well, something more serious?
Right. When does it cross a line where these techniques might not be enough on their own? What are the warning signs we absolutely should not ignore?
There are definite red flags. If you're experiencing chronic sleep loss, not just one bad night, but consistently waking up exhausted, or persistent irritability that feels out of character for you, maybe feeling emotionally numb, like nothing really matters.
And how long does it need to last to be a serious sign?
If those kinds of symptoms stick around for 2 weeks or more, that's a significant indicator. It doesn't mean you failed. It means the load is exceeding your current resources. That's the signal, the biological and psychological cue, that it's time to reach out for professional support, a doctor, a therapist, a caregiver support organization. Burnout is real, and it needs proper attention.
That's incredibly important to highlight. Okay, so wrapping this up, this has been really practical. The big takeaway for me is about designing your environment, your day, to actively protect your own emotional well-being. It's not selfish, it's strategic.
It makes you a better caregiver,
Yeah.
more patient, more present, more compassionate. Because fundamentally, you can't effectively regulate someone else's emotions if you're struggling to regulate your own.
That internal regulation piece is key. It's the foundation.
It really is.
We focused a lot today on prevention, on managing those antecedents, the things that come before the stress hits hard. You think about the whole picture, sustaining this long term. It seems like the next logical step would be exploring the other side of the coin. Positive reinforcement. Not just preventing the negative, but actively building and rewarding the positive, the calm.
Absolutely. How do you systematically reinforce the behaviors you want to see in yourself? Using positive cues, rewards, self-acknowledgement. That's a whole powerful area for maintaining momentum and motivation over the long haul. Definitely something to chew on.
Food for thought for next time. Thanks for diving deep with us.
Always a pleasure. Until next time.